All right, what's going on, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint. Welcome to the live show. This is the weekly show where we talk about this week's comic books and we talk major spoilers. So if you haven't read any of this week's books and you don't want to get spoiled, you might want to watch this on the replay. But I am joined by a lovely panel of guests to the side. I don't know what side this is. We have...
Hey, I'm Comics with Bueller. I cut a huge long promo last week, so I'm not going to do it this week. But if you haven't checked out my channel, please go do so. It's called Comics with Bueller. I'm on there. I talk about comics all the time. It's a lot of fun. Apparently, I did a good job last week because Jim has me back on this week. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys and talking about some comics. So thank you so much. Looking forward to it.
Thanks for coming. And below him, we have...
I am rocking Robbie Billups from Pop Culture Philosophers. Excited to be here again. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much for being here as well, Bueller. And I'm very excited to chat with Kyle as well and all of everybody else out there.
For sure. And we have a newcomer to the panel. We got our boy Kyle. What's going on, sir?
What's up, guys? I'm honored, Jim. I'm excited.
I appreciate it. Kyle is in our Geminites Facebook group. He's always posting his hauls. And I noticed that he kind of gets them early. So I figured you worked at a comic book shop like Robbie, right?
Yeah,
and I figured, you've been posting them for like a year, so I'm like, okay, he probably knows his stuff. Let's get him on the show. And I want this show to always have like a panel of people, different people filtering in and out. I kind of look at it like I'll drop the link, and whoever can show up, and we'll have a good show. So with that being said, we're going to talk about this week's comics. You guys have any preference where you want to start?
Wherever you want to, buddy.
Yeah, I read so many. I'm good to go.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I read it all.
It was a huge week. I missed out on a couple of big ones, and I guess we'll talk about it when you guys bring it up. Did anybody pick up this He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I'm a He-Man guy. Put that out there. I grew up on He-Man with the toys. I think I had every toy, Castle Grayskull, the whole skeleton, alligator that you click them all in the sides. You remember those?
Yeah.
So I read the He-Man Masters of the Universe omnibus recently. So I always like the modern takes. So this is a lot of DC influence, right? Giving a multiverse twist to He-Man. And they have He-Mans from all different universes. You got like the cartoon, you got the movie version, the comic version. What did you guys think of it? I liked it personally.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's actually a book I didn't pick up, and I have a hard time picking up books from childhood cartoons because I love my childhood cartoons. I grew up with G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers, and to read the newer versions of those and some of the liberties they take, I've been burned with those books, and so I tend to just kind of stay away. Even though I'm a huge He-Man fan, it's just not one that I wanted to get because I don't like my childhood things being polluted by other stuff.
It's definitely not your Saturday morning cartoon He-Man.
No, definitely not.
Real quick, Combat Sloth. No, I didn't invite Forge because I don't think he reads weekly comics. Johnny Rando saying He-Man is sus. That's fair. What I like about this, I don't know, Robbie, did you read this book?
Yeah, I read it. I thought it was okay. I don't know. I thought it was kind of like, I thought the execution was a little okay. I mean, it was all right. It wasn't super bad or anything like that. I really like the idea of doing like a multiverse crisis event with the Masters of the Universe. I'm a big fan of that property as well. Those were like some of the first toys I remember having. So I liked all that. And I liked having the movie He-Man showing up. And I really liked at the end where they showed you remember the new adventures of He-Man or whatever it was from the early 90s with the Galactic Guardians? Like that was the stuff at the end. It was like a space He-Man or whatever.
I just watched the Toys That Made Us He-Man episode last night, and they were talking about that. They were talking about, but that era was a terrible era for them.
It was, but I bought those toys and I loved them when I was a kid, and for some reason I still love them. So I'll probably read issue 2 to see that, but like I don't know. I'm kind of with Bueller, like the licensed properties, stuff like He-Man and stuff like that, they usually just doesn't usually work for me.
Yeah, but what about Power Rangers by Boom Studios?
Well, that's a way different thing.
What about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by IDW?
Well, that's another. Well, you're right. You
gotta give it a try. So here's my thing that I liked about this, because it has a multiverse trope where there's a bad guy killing all the He-Mans from all the different universes, and it's like the one, or gently the one. But what's cool here is, and I forget Skeletor's real name. Is it like Randar?
Keldor?
Keldor. Randar is the father, I think, right?
Randor, yeah.
Something like that. So Skeletor in one universe where he's not Skeletor yet, and we saw this in the prior DC run on, like, he was just a blue skinned guy before he went evil, and apparently in this one universe he's the only one that isn't bad. I forget what the thing was with that, but
yeah, it's kind of like the DC Earth 3 type thing where like Luthor was the only good guy. So like I guess in this world Skeletor is the only good guy or something like that.
Yeah, what'd you think about it, Kyle?
I'm a little bit more optimistic. I'm with you, Jim, a little bit.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but I definitely see they definitely went in on this multiverse thing. Like you said, the cartoon He-Man, that was kind of funky, threw me off for a minute. Are there some like parts from the movie in there too?
Yeah, like he shows up with what's that musical thing?
The Cosmic Key.
The Cosmic Key. Yeah, he shows up.
It's some kind of badass synthesizer, man.
You guys are talking me into this book. I'm gonna have to get it because
I think I just talked myself into it.
A movie He-Man, and then I might just have to go get it.
Movie He-Man. So shout out to Just a Rican and his comics, and my boy Dylan's comic book rants. We probably got to get them on the show too, huh? But yeah, I mean, overall, He-Man, I'm definitely gonna pick up issue 2. I mean, it's only a 6-issue miniseries. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah, why not jump on for the ride?
Exactly. What do you guys want to jump into next? You want to jump into what came first, this Scarab or this Superman Batman 4? I forget which is the one that goes before.
I guess the Scarab one technically takes place before because that shows how Jamie like becomes the infected or whatever, right?
Yeah. So is it Jamie? I always figure it's Jaime. I mean, so he's in El Paso, where I live right now. So that's always cool. And they're even like, oh, there's something going down in downtown El Paso. Like, I know downtown El Paso it's a small city, so it's like, bro, that shit is right there.
Yo, Jim, aren't you right here?
What is it? I was looking to see if it would look familiar on that scene. But this was a one shot that it was okay. I mean, you definitely didn't need to read this to understand anything that's going on in Batman Superman, which is really this Secret Six, heroes who laugh kind of story arc. It was okay. It was kind of based on horror. He turns into a bug or whatever. He
looked really scary. I liked the design. I thought that looked really cool.
Yeah, that was like the horror aspect I was thinking of.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't super bad or anything like that, but it was kind of unnecessary. It seems like these infected one shots are going to be like, if you want to see how this person became infected, this is where you got to read it. Otherwise, we're just going to throw them in because we don't have much time in Batman Superman or something.
Yeah, because I really wasn't feeling the Shazam one, and the way they even wrote him in Batman Superman, like what he talks like super obnoxious teenager, kind of like, I don't know.
I guess that's what happens when you give like a 15-year-old Joker toxin.
Right.
It amps that up. Did you read it, Bueller?
Well, I didn't read that one, but I read Batman Superman 3. That's where Scarab shows up at the end of the book. And I'm assuming that the one shot is how he became this character, correct?
I think it's 4. Is it 3 or 4?
3 for Batman Superman, where he shows up at the end. Then the new one, number 4, then it kind of elaborates on that and all the other people get joined. So I didn't pick that one up. Like you said, they're not necessary, I believe. As long as you're following the storyline of the Batman Superman one, you pretty much get all the information you need.
I might stop picking up those one shots then, because I mean I read enough to be like, all right, I don't need a whole other.
Right.
I mean, we have a perfect example of that. The Absolute Carnage Captain Marvel one that came out this week. Kind of the same thing. It did need to be there.
That's true, but we'll talk about that then, because I think me and Robbie were on the same page with that book. But we'll wait till we get to that. Kyle, you got anything on this Batman Superman 4?
I have them all, but I did not get a chance to read them. But I do know, like, this is like, how he transforms into the Scarab kind of thing. I'm a big Blue Beetle fan, so yeah, I didn't get a chance to read that one yet. But you guys kind of like killed it for me, so thanks.
Oh, wow.
I really enjoyed the Batman Superman 4 when the Joshua Williamson is doing a great job. I mean, I like pretty much all the stuff he does, the Flash and this one now, and it's a fun story. I like all these different characters and how Supergirl is now part of the Secret Six as well, and they introduced them all and stuff. So it's kind of like there's chess moves being made in this book. Like in the number 3, they were just like the Batman Who Laughs is like doing one up on Batman, and Batman's doing one up on him type thing, and they kind of continue that in number 4. Like they're it seems like everyone's ahead of everyone else type thing. So it just depends on who has the last move and what happens.
Well, you know, Batman Who Laughs is the Batman from his universe. So you have the greatest prep time, whatever you want to call it, going up against our Batman. But I'm going to disagree. I think I like this run when it started, but now I'm feeling like it's just deceased again. But instead of zombies, it's Batman Who Laughed, or whatever you call that, you know?
It does have some similarities to Deceased. I mean, I see it like that.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed Deceased. I thought that was a great,
and I did too.
Fun summer movie type comic book series.
Yeah.
Well, I really also like David Marquez's artwork in Batman Superman. That stuff looks really good, and I really liked it. The book has been pretty solid. I think it's getting a little bit better as it goes, though, for sure.
All right, so that's enough of that. All right, so none of you guys reading this Metal Men? I don't think I see you guys talking about it.
I didn't read. I mean, I took home over 40 comics, and so I looked at Metal Men, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to let you go." And it looked at me with Baby Yoda eyes, like, "Oh," and I just put it aside. I did like the first issue. I liked the idea of what they were doing, so I might just have to go back and check it out later on this weekend or something. Because you liked it, Jim, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. A real quick shout out to 90 MF Comics. He's in the chat. He couldn't make it. He might jump in later. White Wolf. I don't know how I missed this question book. I didn't pick it up. I'll let these guys talk about it when we get to it. But as far as Metal Man, Kyle, did you enjoy it?
I've enjoyed it so far. I did not get a chance to read the second one.
Oh, okay.
You know, the problem with working at a comic book store is I go home, Robbie said, like 40 freaking books. So I'm definitely into Metal Man. I'd like to get to reading this one, but I did not get a chance yet.
Shout out to Just a Rican in his comics for the $5 holla. Appreciate that, brother. Check him out. And we'll have him on the show for sure. I want to have a nice, robust panel that we can always pick from. And we got our man again with the $2, €2. Psychois. I can't say his name. SS in the chat.
You got it. That's good enough.
Yeah. We always call him S squared over at Pop Culture Philosophies. He's a cool cat.
Oh, that's your boy. Okay, appreciate that, man. This is issue 2 out of a 12-issue miniseries. Again, when I know it's ending, I'm down for the ride until I hate it. And I don't hate it. I think it was interesting. Metal Men is like an old series that they're revamping, and everything with DC has been metal with the nth metal and all that. So they're kind of combining that with the story, and I think it works. So I'm feeling it. I'm not going to really talk spoilers because I don't really want to spoil Kyle. But
thanks, Jim.
It was good though. So it was good. I would recommend it if you're not reading 40 books, maybe.
Right.
So guys, help me out with Batman. So sometimes I don't have the best reading retention, right? I knew, and this is a spoiler show, so I don't want anyone getting butthurt in the chat, but I knew Alfred died in the White Knight. What is the White Knight story? Is it Curse of the White Knight or
Curse of the White Knight? Yeah,
I don't remember him dying in the main run as well.
He did. It was what, 10 issues ago now, it seems, or something?
77, I think it was. I think it was 77.
So why did the last issue end with Thomas Wayne shooting Bane, shooting Bruce, and then this issue, we don't hear any of that? Was the whole thing about Alfred's poem that he wrote to him or whatever the hell?
That was
because
just a big
Tom
love
King.
letter. Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Tom King breaks up his stories in weird ways, and he structures them so weird. And so that's why it's so frustrating sometimes to go issue to issue, especially on a long run like Batman.
So it's like a Tarantino movie kind of.
Because like Bueller said, issue 77 or 78, like Alfred gets his neck snapped by Thomas, right? It's Thomas, right? And so this is the issue where it shows Batman learning about this for the first time. And that note that Alfred did, like, apparently that's like a note he left or something like that. And so I thought it was a very emotional issue. And so like Tom King did a great job, but like, it's so weird how it's structured. It's definitely better to read it in the trade. And I enjoy the Tom King Batman run way better when I reread it in trade, but it does do that. It goes up and down, and it took a long time to get to this moment. That's why. When you're reading all these comics and Batman comes out like twice a month, and you're like, man, I don't even remember that.
I thought this was really interesting how he handled that moment. It's not what I thought he would do when Batman finds out that Alfred is dead. For one, let's just talk about Alfred's corpse. Looks really good for being dead for the last 10 issues type thing. So hats off to that guy.
Mancha's got some good insulation, I guess.
Yeah, apparently.
Right.
So then Batman starts pounding the wall, but why are all these walls bricked up too? I thought, was this a dream or something? Like,
see, Thomas doesn't want Bruce to be Batman. That's the whole point. He comes, so he survives from Flashpoint or whatever, and his idea is that Bruce shouldn't be Batman. Like, I did not give up my life so that you would be like this. Right. So he boards up the Batcave so he can't have access. He's basically being like, son, learn your place and listen to me. And Batman's like, I ain't going to do that.
I guess the chat's saying they can't really hear Kyle. Kyle, you got the mic going or what, brother?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I mean, you're a little bit lower, but I can hear you.
You want me to yell?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're just getting that feedback, and like the feedback's on my phone. I guess like when you guys are talking, sometimes it gives that like.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, everybody's gonna have to live with it. We'll get it figured out for next time.
I'll get it figured out next time. I promise.
So Batman, yeah, I guess I'm writing it out. I don't love it. I'm lost a lot in this run. I'm reading it, and then they're on the beach, and then they're back. He's fighting Bane, and nothing happens because of that. So I don't know. I'm not feeling it.
I think you just summed it up. Everybody is kind of writing this out for the next writer to come on board.
Or who's coming? James Tynion, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's done Batman a lot as well. Like Tyler Lewis, I see him in the chat. I want Tynion on Batman. But yeah, he did. Wasn't Tynion on Batman Eternal, I think.
He was.
Yeah.
Batman Eternal, Batman and Robin Eternal, and he did Detective Comics and Rebirth, and that run was amazing.
And didn't he do the Batman TMNT as well?
Yes, all three of them.
Okay.
Those are good.
Okay.
And those were amazing.
Yeah.
I only read the first one. I didn't really love it, to be honest with you.
Oh, man. I think they get better. The second one has Bane, and the third one is like a crisis. Did you say something, Kyle?
Yeah, he said he was big in the first, right?
Yeah, I read the first one. I didn't read the second one yet.
I liked all three of them. I thought they were really fun.
Did they make a movie out of that already?
They did the first one, yeah. I haven't watched it, though. I hear it's really good.
Yeah.
Me neither. So, okay, so it's keeping on Batman. So this is out of the White White Knight universe, right? So that's that whole what's Joker's name in the White Knight universe?
Jack Napier?
Jack Napier, right?
Yeah, that's from the 89 movie, the Michael Keaton one.
Is that what his name was in that movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because he was the gangster or whatever before.
Yeah. Right. So this was a one-shot, kind of similar to like Scarab. You don't really need to read this. It's just if you want to know what's up with Mr. Freeze's dad and what he was doing during World War II, this might be for you.
I liked it.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Oh, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really fun. It was a cool Elseworlds type alternate origin for Mr. Freeze. I really liked it. And I really like Klaus Janson coming back on the artwork. It made it feel classic. It made it feel cool. And I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. What about you, Bueller?
I thought it was good. I thought it was kind of emotional because he's basically telling the story of his father and everything and how everything came to be. And just like the decisions he made for his family, for himself. And it kind of covers all the bases. It's tragic. There's deaths involved.
Yeah.
For me, who I'm not a huge Von Freeze fan or whatnot, I've never really been a big fan of that villain. Reading this and kind of learning about it, even though it's a different universe, it was a lot of fun. And I was really happy I read it. It's probably one of my best reads this week.
Shout out to Mac Collections and Statue Collecting in the chat. Kyle, did you read this one?
I did not.
Right.
The only DC I got around to was The Question.
So let's talk about that next. So I personally, I enjoyed the issue, but I don't really like one-shots that don't have stakes in the overall story. I want a whole story. I don't really want to. Okay, now that I know this, what am I going to do with this information in my brain? Nothing.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's not necessary to the ongoing story or anything like that. But I like. Did they do a one shot last for the first White Knight? Didn't they do a one shot? Or am I tripping?
I think you're tripping because
I'm tripping.
I thought it was an Azrael one, but I think that was just a variant cover. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. I saw that one. I was gonna pick it up, but
Kyle, you want to jump out with the question? I don't care if you guys spoil it. It wasn't on my radar. I know it's a Black Label book, right?
Yeah. It's Black Label. This is book one of 6 issue series, I believe. Correct?
I think it's wrong. 3, right?
3.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was 3.
Oh, okay, maybe it is 3. This is a bit bigger of a book. So, okay, if it's 3, then I'm totally wrong. But I enjoyed it. I liked it.
What is the question about? Like, I have no idea.
Do you want me to go on about it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just basically Vic Sage. I've never read Question. This is my first time reading anything Question, but I've seen him in like Justice League Unlimited, and like I thought he was pretty sick in that and everything. But he's basically like stationed in Hub City, and in this book, he's like trying to figure out there's this like cult or this ring of like the mayor and councilmen are involved, of course. So he's trying to figure out who this ring of mobsters is that's like kind of ruining Hub City. And then there's basically like a big outbreak. When he's Vic Sage, he's actually like a news reporter, like a talk show host. And then when he's the question, he's doing the detective work. He has the mask on with no face and stuff. Basically, he beats down. There's actually one really cool panel. He infiltrates this whorehouse, if you will, and he's beating up these guys, and he rescues these women, and the girls are like, "Oh, thank you for saving us." And my favorite thing was, he's like, "I'm not here to rescue you. I'm here to kick these guys' ass." And as he's walking away, the girls are like, "Asshole," and he's like, "Maybe, but at least I'm not a whore." And I just chuckled at that. I thought that was it.
So Black Label. So it's a 3-issue bigger magazine format. So is it as good as Harleen and Joker Harley, as the artwork and the writing and everything?
I'm not a huge fan of the artwork. It's just very wispy, if that makes any sense. But it's good, but I wouldn't compare it to those. I wouldn't say it's in their, tier, their league. It's decent.
Gotcha. What do you guys think?
I really liked it. I thought it was super cool. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Question series that Denny O'Neil did with Dennis Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz back in the 80s. So this is a big love letter to that. It's even the same art team. So I love that run. The Question is the character that Rorschach from Watchmen is based on. So in this one, Jeff Lemire kind of takes the entire idea of Denny O'Neil's Question and he kind of does it in 2019. So it's a little bit grittier. It's a little bit edgier, because it's different, nowadays than 1987. I really liked it. The art team, like I said, it harkened back to that classic run. Jeff Lemire did a great job with it. I loved his take on the character. So it's not really a sequel to the 80s run, but it uses the same characters. It uses the same setting and vibe and tone. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was that and Killer Smile have been my favorite Black Label books so far. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Damn, I don't think I'm reading Killer Smile. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the Joker book.
Yeah. That one was wild. I love that one.
So, Bueller, you feeling the same on the Question or what?
Here's the thing, and this is just me, and this is the type of guy I am. I didn't buy it because I don't like the size of the book. I have those Black Label, the magazine size books. I want them so bad, but I can't buy them because they're too big, and I don't have a box for them to go in. And I don't have
a CGC box.
I know, but it's just so inconvenient. It's just
come on.
I look at it, I want it. I don't know.
Hey, we like what we like. I feel you, man. Don't conform to them just because they want to come out.
I mean, they make other Black Label books that are the regular size.
So,
I mean,
why? What is the difference between their magazines format and their regular comic book format?
$2. That's it.
But why? Is there a reason why certain titles are getting that format and some aren't?
I don't know. I was talking to a guy at a comic shop owner. And he was talking about that Joker one. And he's like, there's no reason this shouldn't have been just in a regular, issue size. It didn't have to be the magazine size. So I don't know what their reasoning for that is, but it is what it is.
I'm sure it justifies the need for a higher price tag. They call it the prestige format, and then they can put these nice hardcovers out or whatnot. I like the magazine format. That's usually a format that's used in Europe a lot. That's how 2000 AD is done and all that kind of stuff. So it challenges the writer and especially the artist to do something different with the composition of the page. And you're able to do more. You're actually able to fit more panels per page because they're given that little bit of extra width. So I like it. I like the approach. I like how it expands open the composition of the page. So I'm kind of cool with it, but I do get it because, you get so I got 10 magazine size DC Black Label books. So I'm going to buy a box for 10 comics, but
right.
So I guess the reason why it doesn't bother me, because I read oversized books all the time. So I actually have all those books on a shelf like this, but on the other wall there. So I guess if I didn't have all this and I didn't have anywhere to store it, it would be annoying.
And there's no ads in the magazine size books, is there?
Oh, is that true? That's true,
no,
right?
I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't think there is. I mean, the regular Black Labels do have ads, but the prestige format does not have ads.
Hold on, we got a new hashtag here. Hashtag Bueller hates magazine size book.
It's not always the size that matters.
And then look at Matt Dotsko. He's got a point. So once they're reprinted in hardcover, it is better because look at like Batman Damned, and then look at Deceased. Deceased came out in a standard size hardcover, which I thought was kind of lame, to be honest.
Yeah.
I sold my Batman Dams to get the hardcover.
There you go. I think I just gave my hardcover away actually in a gem crate.
Nice.
I read it and then I passed it on. Is there any other DC books that came out that we didn't talk about? I'm out.
Is anybody reading Jimmy Olsen by any chance?
Hell no, I would never even.
I mean, I would say the same thing. I hate Jimmy Olsen, but this is one of my favorite DC books right now. This book, it's silly, it's ridiculous, and Matt Fraction wrote Batman in this one, and Batman is the dumbest version of Batman, but it's so funny. This book cracks me up.
I just can never get into books like Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Mary Jane. I'm not picking up those books, man.
No, I understand. I get it. I completely get it. But the Jimmy Olsen one is a big shocker and surprise for me. I've been really enjoying that one. Okay.
You guys want to stay? Is there anything else on DC, or you want to keep it moving?
No, I think I'm good. I did check out Justice League. I thought that was pretty good. I noticed that for some reason, when I was going through Justice League, like page 18 and 19 are drawn by a different artist than the rest of the book.
Yeah, it's Howard Porter, right? He jumps in something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, I actually couldn't tell until I went and read the, who did the book type thing. I noticed that he did 2 of the pages, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, Justice League's been something I'm really enjoying. I love that book.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that this, what is it, G5 thing? Is that supposed to be coming after Doomsday Clock?
Yeah,
it's coming eventually, like late 2020, something like that, maybe.
I'm just looking forward to new jumping on points for DC
because everything again.
Right, that's what I'm hearing. So I'm down for that because I don't want to jump into all these runs, and I can't afford to go back and read it to catch up. I have so much stuff I'm reading already.
I tell you what, though, when they come out with the Scott Snyder Justice League Omnibus, you got to get it and read it because it's so much fun.
I get every omnibus, so I would be all over it.
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
Is there any other DC stuff, or that's it?
I can't think of anything else.
Are any of you guys reading any Valiant stuff?
Well, this week I read the new Rye.
Rye was dope, man.
I thought it was all right, but I feel lost. Like I haven't read any of the stuff that came before.
So you know what? That's what I was just gonna say. With all of these books, you really can't go into any of these without having read prior books.
Yeah,
really.
So that's kind of a problem because, with Rye, they're talking about the end of the last arc and why they're in the situation they're in. So if you haven't read that, you're not going to know what the hell's going on. Roku, it's hard because she was introduced in like an Injak book, so you're not really going to know her story. And then Bloodshot number 3 came out. You probably could pick up Bloodshot 1, 2, and 3, although it would have helped, again, to have read prior stuff. So fortunately, like I had all the Valiant Deluxe editions, and I read every single one of them, and I'm up to date. So with the new issues, I enjoy them because I've read all the other ones.
Well, my LCS doesn't get a lot of Valiant comics, and so far they haven't sent me any copies. I wish I knew someone who gets copies sent to them. It'd be kind of nice. Maybe that might happen.
Hey, you know what? You got to hit them up, man. They don't really come to you,
That's right.
Speaking of not getting your comics, my shop didn't get Something Is Killing the Children 3, so that's going to come from me this week. That's
a fantastic book. I love that book so much.
Issue 2 was my pick of the week, the last week it came out. So I'm going to be selfish. I don't want to talk spoilers on it because I didn't read it yet.
Oh, that's fine. I'll just say it was great. It was fantastic.
There is such a slow burn to that book. I mean, that's what he is building for. The slow burn and the payoff should be awesome.
All right, sticking on kind of indies here. So we got this new Image title, Skybound title, Heart Attack. I know Robbie read it. Did you guys pick this one up?
Didn't get that one. Went with the other one by Image Olympia, but didn't get that one.
What about you, Kyle? Did you pick that one up?
Nah, I saw it. It was a hard pass.
The reason why I picked it up, I'm a big fan of superhero comics, and everybody's always trying to get you to read indie. But indie books are always situational, environmental books, right? So the synopsis of this was kind of like superpowers, kind of like mutants, which is what made me pick it up. And I think it was all right. I mean, I don't think we have any household name type characters yet, but I like the fact that it's dealing with superpowers in an indie book.
Well, I mean, look at Invincible. That was more. No, that wasn't as.
So that's what made me think. It made me think about Invincible. Now I don't. Yeah. So far, it doesn't have Invincible potential, but not to say that it won't. But I fucking loved Invincible. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought Heart Attack was pretty solid, and I like that. You're right. That is something that a lot of indie books kind of veer away from is the superhero stuff. Right. So I do like it when they take their own approach to it because you get the same stuff from Marvel and DC, of course. So
right.
I like the take on it. It doesn't have, big flamboyant costumes or anything like that. It's like more real world. What would it be like? And then, of course, the idea that they all get outlawed. That's really, really cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's what makes me think of X-Men with mutants. They have curfews, I think, or something like that. They're pretty much what's the persecuted or whatever. Now I didn't pick up Olympia because I saw that Jack Kirby cover, and although I'm a fan of Jack Kirby, I thought the book was going to be written like 1960s Eternal. So I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with that. But that wasn't the case, is what I'm understanding.
No, not at all. This book was really, really heartwarming, and it was a very touching tribute to Jack Kirby and that energy that not only he brings into comic books, but that he can bring into life. And that may sound cheesy, but like Jack Kirby to me is like such a legend. Like I put him on such a pedestal. And this book was about, of course, the idea is that this kid's favorite superhero leaps from the comic book page into his own real world. And then is probably going to get addicted to Vicodin because of it. But it's really funny and it's very touching. And I really enjoyed it so much. I think Bueller liked it too, right?
Kyle read it too, right?
Yeah.
I read it, and honestly, I put myself in the shoes of the kid. I mean, I was like sitting there, and he's out, hanging out by himself, reading the comic book, and when he's like 12 years old, that's what I was doing, just hanging out in the, in the woods. I don't know why, but
reading comics in the woods, man.
Yeah, exactly. We lived out in the country at that time, so
okay,
I mean, that's what was going on. But I enjoyed it from the very beginning, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of the movie Last Action Hero. How his favorite character comes to life and it jumps off screen. I kind of have that vibe. I think that movie's kind of underrated movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I loved it too. And but that's kind of how it is. I mean, it's very early on in the story. And like I was talking to Robbie earlier, there's a great dig on Diamond distribution in there where the kid goes to get the new issue of Olympia, and the guy at the comic shop says, "Oh, Diamond shorted our shipment. We didn't get a copy in." And I've heard that so many times when I go to my LCS. And the fact that makes it in a book that's distributed by Diamond is so good. It's awesome.
Yeah, that reminded me of when you guys were mentioning that earlier too. That a lot of that was in Invincible as well, and they would take even more shots at rebooting series or variant covers. Diamond, I remember a lot of digs to the industry in Invincible, so that's pretty funny. Yeah, looking at the chat here, Dave Scarpa said, yeah, they're saying a lot of good indie stuff lately. Dead Eyes is one of my favorite ones. Something Killing the Children. I like all that stuff.
Also, I get a little vibe. I mean, I think it's obviously going to go a different direction, but a little bit of what's that one? God Country by Donny Cates.
Haven't read that yet.
A little similar to that in the very beginning as far as how it's introduced type thing. Obviously that book is a lot darker than what this one is, but I enjoyed it by far when I read it. And I actually read it because of Robbie's review. I saw his review. I went and picked it up, and I was like, dude, he's right on the money. So thank you, sir.
I got to get it too, because it's nothing like what I thought it was going to be in my head.
Yeah, and I've actually read issue 2 and 3 as well, and it really keeps it going. Like, I think you're going to continue to like this book. It's really fun.
Hold on, what are we talking about?
Olympia?
Oh, okay. But 2 and 3 you already read?
Yeah, I've read them.
Oh, okay. Damn. Okay, straight up.
Yeah.
Is 2 and 3 a larger size as issues like number 1 or just regular size?
I don't know. I read them digitally, so I don't really know.
Okay.
I'm assuming that it picks up a lot, right? I mean, this is obviously just the first issue.
Yeah, it does pick up a lot, but it kind of keeps that same mood and atmosphere about it. It's really fun. I liked it.
So got a little bit of world building going on there.
Oh yeah.
White Wolf. I think a few of these guys are reading Folklords. I'm not reading it. I think Robbie is.
Yeah, that was my favorite one last week. I thought it was great. Olympia was my pick of the week this week. This book was just, to me, the best. I loved it.
Any other indies before we jump into the Marvel stuff?
There was one from Vault Comics this week that was called Creature Feature, Cult Classic Creature Feature. I love this book so much. Yeah. If you like cheesy 80s sci-fi horror type stuff that's just grotesque and just goofy and weird and obnoxious at times, it's so much fun.
And that's by Elliot Rahal. He's doing the Midnight Vista as well.
Yes, I love Elliot's work. He's a really super cool dude, and that book is so much fun. And the art by, I think it's John Bivens. Mm-hmm. And then there's even a band that does like a soundtrack to each issue or something like that. That's really fun. I think they're called Drift Click. But the book is so much fun. If you like those cheesy 80s horror movies, you'll love this. It's just so fun.
I got to pick up some Vault Comics. I like how they're interactive with the community as well, man. It's cool.
Oh, they're the coolest people. They absolutely are.
That's dope, man. Johnny Randall said he's loving Coffin Bound, a favorite current book. Man, I stopped reading it after I think the second issue or so. I couldn't get into it.
That's a dense book. It's really hard to get into. I was reading that book and I really liked it. I thought it was so good, but I still am like, man, I need to read this book again because it's kind of like a gritty grindhouse version of Sandman. But there's a lot of layers to it. It's really, really deep and it's coming back. But that's a book that I gotta go a little bit further in because it feels beyond me.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Cool. So jumping into Marvel. So we had a couple of number 2. So let's jump out. Got Marauders 2 here. Marauders 1, I think most people agree was a great issue. I think Marauders in general is a good premise. You got Kitty Pryde going by Kate Pryde. She's the leader of this pirate type group called the Marauders. The big reason why is because for whatever reason she can't teleport in Krakoa's portals, right? She's got you can't even get into the club or whatever kind of thing going on.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And, so she's out there. They're pretty much policing, right? Because what are they doing? Cracking down on people that are not delivering the Krakoa flowers to the right places or whatever.
Yeah, stuff like that, and people that are not allowing mutants to leave. People like I think in the first issue it was Russia or something like that, where they were guarding the gate and they were refusing to allow mutants to go through. So they're helping the refugees, and they're also dealing with that stuff.
And then I guess so. This is the big spoiler of the book that I didn't want to talk about in the video I did on Wednesday, but Emma Frost anoints her as the 3rd chair of the Hellfire Club.
Yep, the Red Queen.
She's the Red Queen now. So she's coming through with the red scarf or cape or whatever she was wearing.
She's living this pirate fantasy, and I'm all about it, dude. She gets the tattoos, the hold fast, Pyro's tattoo. He gets the face tattoo. I'm like, dude, that's a commitment 2 issues in, homie.
That was Pyro, right? He was like, he got Mike Tyson, but on his whole face.
Yeah, right. The whole black skull or whatever. And I'm loving it. She gets the jacket, the boots. Man, this is fun.
It is on the cover, I guess, for the spoiler, but without context. But then Sebastian Shaw's pissed, so I like that too.
Yeah, the dialogue between Emma and Sebastian was priceless in this issue. I thought that it's Duggan, right, that does this one. Fantastic with the dialogue. I think it's Duggan. Yeah,
it is Jerry Duggan.
Yeah, I really like this. Has been my favorite so far Dawn of X book. I really like this one.
Favorite one? It was strong. I liked issue 1 better, but I guess it had a better fight scene. But it was a good book. I liked it.
I just love how Kate just gives no F's anymore. She's just
badass for sure. What do you guys think? You guys got anything, Bueller or Kyle?
I got 10 Marvel books this week and that I read, and this one is not one of them. And in the words of Jerry Seinfeld, I don't want to be a pirate.
Oh man.
That's all I gotta say.
Unpopular opinion is that I never dug the Nightcrawler pirate stuff.
I didn't.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
People love that shit. Nah, I wasn't about it. But Kyle, you read Marauders too, or what?
Yeah, I just didn't. The whole time, reading Powers of 10 and House of X, when they brought up the red Queen or the Red King or whatever, like I was thinking it was going to be Omega Red, just because he's red. I don't know what that was, but I was not expecting her to be the one that they nominated. So.
I don't think anybody was. She's definitely stepped into this huge role that was unlike her kind of character, but she's playing that role well.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so Excalibur. This one I was a little bit pleasantly surprised. I thought the first issue was a little slow, and then this one started picking up a little bit.
I'm right. I agree with you. I didn't like issue 1, but issue 2 really kind of stepped it up a lot. Had a little bit more of an interesting take on what's going on, setting a little bit more world building, setting up the story. And Apocalypse, the fun stuff with Apocalypse, and especially with Jubilee.
That's what I was going to say. So what's going on with Apocalypse and Jubilee? Is he after her kid? Because her kid's living on Krakoa, but he's not a mutant.
Correct.
That's a problem.
Yeah, right. What does Apocalypse want to do to this kid? Apocalypse and children, it doesn't usually turn out too well.
Right. So whatever happened to Evan? Wasn't that the kid reincarnation of Apocalypse?
Yeah, he was in all the X books up until all of this stuff. Have we seen him at all since this stuff started?
I don't think so. Not that I recall.
Well, that will be a big secret to be revealed, I bet.
Was this book dealing? So I'm getting some of the books mixed together. Was this dealing with the death of Professor X or no?
It mentioned it a little bit.
It didn't mention it, right?
But
and then
didn't directly follow it up or nothing.
Oh, because they told this. I think what happened was they told I forget what group that he died, and they were not even really that upset. They were like, "Well, can we bring him back?" Like, because they could.
Right. That was in the Marauders, wasn't it? Where they like told him that he had died or something like that.
Could have been Marauders. I'm getting them a little bit blended together.
Yeah, but the Marauders do. They show up in Excalibur now that I remember. They do.
Yeah, they do have a little crossover. So yeah, I guess we don't know. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to be able to bring Professor X back. I think the problem is that they kind of needed him to bring the people back. So if he's dead, who else is going to be the one to do it? So I think
that'd be Gene, right?
You would think Gene can do it. Come on.
Yeah, in the Marauders, when they tell them that somebody, I think it's Iceman or something. Well, the 5 can bring him back, right? Surely, right? So it's like they know, but maybe they're a little worried that maybe it won't happen. But surely it will happen.
Why do you think they killed him so early on in this? I don't know. That seems kind of weird, right?
To get people interested, I think, in the X books post Hoxpox, to keep people like, oh wow, they've already done something big in all the books, and apparently they're collecting them like all together. So like Dawn of X book 1 will be all the first issues, Dawn of X book 2 will be all the second issues, and apparently they've said, Marvel has, that they're going to keep collecting these that way, as if you need to read every single one of these to get the entire story.
Well, that would be smart for them, but yeah, that's cool.
Right.
Bad for my wallet.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, you guys got to get that LCS discount, man.
Oh yeah.
Nice. You guys want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about King Thor 3? You guys reading King Thor?
Oh yeah.
So I like Gore the God Butcher. I stopped reading Jason Aaron's Thor after that arc, the God Bomb, right? And then I jump back here, and it's like picking up where that left off. So that worked out perfect for me. But what's going on here? So I guess Gore, he kind of blotted out all the stars or something at the end of this. What was going on with that?
Man, you're just killing me, man. Because literally, out of all the books I got, these 3 Marvel books, I didn't get any of these.
Well, I got
literally my last book.
I left, man. We got a lot to talk about. Look,
the last book you mentioned. The reason I didn't buy it is because last time you guys said it wasn't very good, so I didn't get number 2. Oh, anyway.
Which one did we say was good?
The one you just
Excalibur.
So the Excalibur one wasn't that great. Out of all the new X books that came out, Excalibur was the weakest one. So literally, I didn't buy number 2 because of that. And now you're saying it's a good one. So now I'm screwed either way.
You got to give these things a chance, man. As comic book fans, we're gonna read some bad shit. You got to power through it sometimes and just keep it moving.
I am reading bad shit. I'm reading Batman by Tom King right now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we all are.
Power through it, right?
So King Thor. So what else, Rob? You got to help me out. What else is going on in this King Thor?
Oh man, I loved King Thor. So I guess Gore has the Necro Sword, right? And he's kind of like combined with it. So that's really cool. Loki's there.
Is the Necro Sword what Noel created himself with, or something like that?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So that's really cool. And then because Loki had it, and then Gore came back, and then I love the whole thing in this about the gods that were left in that one world from that very first story.
So this was a desert world that Thor kind of planted the seed of gods. I don't know how he did it, but they prayed to gods, and then you had Thor, Loki, and Thor's daughters praying, and by them praying, it awoke in the gods on that planet, which is now flourishing.
Yeah.
So that's what Gore hates gods. So now he's brought more gods to the forefront here.
Yeah, I love the idea that Thor's like, you did this, yo. Like, this is all on you, Gore. And he's like, no.
But so it looks like they kind of they kind of overthrow him, but then not really at the end. He kind of pulls out, I guess, his ace card, and he does some shit where he seems to be having destroyed everything. I don't know. We have to see.
Yeah, we got one more issue left. So I think Jason Aaron has done such a great job on Thor. It's going to be sad to see him go, but I'm also very excited to see what Donny Cates is going to do.
We're all hyped for the Donny Cates Thor for sure, man. Yeah, shout out to Reggie Simmons in the chat. What's up, man? So that's just a 4-issue miniseries, so that's good. So let's talk about Deadpool number 1. Deadpool number 1. Who wants to start?
I'll go ahead and start real quick.
I'm interested. I know what Robbie thinks. I know what I think. So I'm interested to see what you thought.
I'm not a big, huge Deadpool guy. I never have been. He came out kind of the tail end when I stopped collecting, and I didn't really follow him too much after that. The only thing I liked about this book was the line where Gwenpool gives him the shark because her books always get canceled. I mean, literally, that's the only thing I liked about the book. Yeah. I didn't think the artwork was that great, or at least not in this format. I mean, some artwork has its place in different areas type thing. And I don't think this translates very well to a Deadpool comic. So the artwork actually took me out of the story type thing.
I agree with you. I was not a fan of the artwork. I think a lot of panels I had a hard time trying to figure out what was going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gwenpool, that was a cool panel because Gwenpool knows she's in a comic book.
Yeah.
And Deadpool, I don't know if he knows he's in a comic book, but he breaks the fourth wall. But she's more out there with that, right?
Yes.
So that was a good scene. Like, what is it? Land Shark is the thing?
Yeah, Jeff the Land Shark.
Yeah.
Take him because I don't know what happens to him when my book gets canceled, and I want him to be safe. So let him live in your book. That was cool. Robbie, I know you enjoyed it. I think that was your favorite part of it as well. You said, right?
Yeah, that was pretty much the favorite part. You know, when we were talking about it, and I was like, you know, like is a strong word. I wouldn't say that necessarily I liked it, but I didn't hate it, which is different for me for a Deadpool book. I typically do not like Deadpool at all. I am a Kelly Thompson fan. I really like her Gem and the Holograms, and I loved her run on Hawkeye, right? But she did that run on West Coast Avengers where she introduces Jeff the Land Shark, and he's like Baby Yoda. He's super adorable, and he's so much fun. Yeah. So I loved that bit there. But yeah, Chris Bachalo, his artwork was really unclear in this, and he still had his composition, but the book didn't flow very well, and it was very confusing to get through. And I hear that issue 2 and 3 are running late, so I think that he's even further behind. So that's gonna complicate that. So I don't think this is a book I'm going to continue to follow. Yeah, but I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty decent for a Deadpool #1. It wasn't as good as that last Deadpool #1. The Scotty Young stuff was actually pretty decent. So
yeah,
I do like that their Craven was introduced on the final panel.
Oh, yeah, that was Craven.
I'm a big fan of him, so I'm looking forward to see what they do with him.
And I like Elsa Bloodstone in it too.
So I was going to mention, I like the interaction and the banter between Deadpool and Elsa Bloodstone. I couldn't remember her name when I was doing my video or whatever, but that's like the only thing I liked because I didn't like the plot dealing with the monsters and how you killed the monster and now you're the king of the monsters. That is not interesting to me at all. And I was watching Mike Spider Slayer, his review, and he said like the same thing I said. Like, this was the most dialogue I've ever seen Deadpool have. It was killing me to get through. And it's got to take a lot for me to say I'm not reading this book anymore after one issue. Like I was telling Bueller, you got to power through it. Fuck that. You got to power through to read Deadpool 2. Excalibur, I mean, it's Dawn of X. There's a lot of connecting parts, so that's worth it for me to power through. But this one, I'm like, yo, I don't even like Craven. I'm a Spider-Man guy, but I'm not really a Craven fan. So,
oh man,
watching Craven hunt Deadpool is going to be like watching The Pest with John Leguizamo. I'm good, man.
Oh God.
I'm just happy Jeff the Land Shark has a new home. I really am.
Kyle, did you read Deadpool 1?
No, I'm gonna pull a Bueller, and I did not pick that one up. It actually flew under my radar.
Good move, bro. Good move. Yeah, it definitely didn't feel like even Deadpool to me. I don't know. I think some of the dialogue just didn't feel like him. I don't know. Annihilation, is it Scourge or I think Micah's always calling it Scourge. He throws me off with that. I think
Scourge. I heard Scourge.
I always call it Scourge.
Yeah,
so
that's what
Scourge.
But see, Scourge to me would be if it didn't have an O. Then it would be Scourge.
Well, that's the villain from Thor, right? That's Scourge.
Is it?
It's a different Scourge. Yeah.
Scourging all over the place here. So Annihilation.
Jesus.
I'm an Annihilus fan, and I think I got my Annihilus fix out of this book. Him with Blast Star, that was cool. It seems like, and I'm sorry if you didn't read this, you guys, but it seems like it's going to be a Null kind of tie-in here with this Annihilation Scourge, right?
Yeah,
I don't know about that. Where'd you pick up on the Null stuff? I saw your video and you mentioned that, but I didn't pick up on
had the stuff coming out of their mouths and they were speaking with the black boxes. Didn't that the Null language they were speaking?
Well, it's because they're from the Cancerverse, right? And then that's typically how they do it. That's typically how they do the Cancerverse stuff.
Okay, so it might not be a Null thing.
Now, it would be cool if they take it and the Cancerverse is somehow connected to Null. That would be neat. That would be really cool.
Also, creatures in House of X that were speaking in that kind of language as well.
Oh yeah,
there's something going on with that.
Yeah,
I don't remember that. I don't know what we're talking about.
I know what you're talking about, Jim. There was a part in House of X or something where there was like some people mutated or something talking in some weird language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's the guy that met up with Apocalypse from the other island. I think it was maybe the creatures that were being something happened with that. I don't know. But anyway, so I could be wrong. So the Cancerverse, now help me out because I remember the Cancerverse. Wasn't that a Marvel Zombies thing?
No, that was Annihilate. That was War of Realms or Realm of Kings.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Realm of Kings, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Annihilation is actually what got me into comics. Like, I'm a huge Annihilation fan and Annihilation Conquest, and for me, this was honestly a little. I liked it, but it was nice to see Annihilus and Blastar, and Nova's my favorite. I love Nova.
Yeah, he had a cameo, right?
Yeah, he was in there. He was drunk, which I thought was pretty hilarious. But this wasn't. I'm gonna have to pick up the next couple of issues. This was a little bit of a disappointment. It was just okay for me.
It wasn't a mind blowing awesome issue. It was just kind of. It didn't suck, kind of.
Exactly.
Okay.
It didn't get me excited for it. I mean, they're doing this, and then they have the 4 one-shots, and then they have the Omega one, or the last issue.
Yeah.
And honestly, this first one, it didn't make me want to go buy the other ones. I mean, I liked some of the cameos that were in there. Sentries at the very end. It's kind of cool to see him doing something again. But it didn't grab me at all. I was struggling to get through the book, and by the end of it, I was glad I was done reading it.
I feel you. It didn't grab me, but it didn't make me say, "Oh, I'm not picking up these other books." So I think it was decent enough, and I think Robbie hit it on the head on his video that it's kind of the same setup as the 2099 storyline, where you have these one shots, and then is it playing out in a main title?
Spider-Man, I think.
No, that's 2099, but the Annihilation book.
The Annihilation, yeah, it's just the Alpha, those one shots, and then like an Omega.
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah. So I guess it's going to be a quick read. You don't have to invest too much time into it.
Yeah, it didn't do anything to super. Like, I felt like it was cool. I love Annihilus. I love Blastar. I liked seeing both of them on there, and I liked the story. It'd be really cool if they take the Sentry, Void stuff, Cancerverse, and even Null stuff, and like tied that together. That would make this something really, really cool.
Yeah,
but it didn't feel big. It didn't feel like, events have to start big.
Yeah,
and I guess this isn't a full-on event where it's crossing over for months and months and months. But it just didn't really.
Is it too much with the Null stuff to tie it in, though? You think?
I think so.
I think everything should tie into Null.
A Null fan here.
Why not? Right? I mean, if Null's popular, do it. I'm just.
So Sentry did show up at the end, right?
Yeah, that was the most exciting part to me. Was that?
How do you guys feel about Sentry? I hate him and I love him. Like I like him, but I don't know.
So isn't his thing that he's like crazy as hell?
Yeah, basically.
That's kind of cool. And he's super powerful. It's kind of like a whole thing. Like, you're scared to death of this guy because he's so powerful and he's kind of messed up crazy.
Yeah, what if Superman was nutso? What if Superman was crazy and such a loose cannon that you had no idea what was going to happen? Sometimes he was going to be a hero and other times he was not. So I like the Sentry. He doesn't always get used the right way. But.
So Annihilus, doesn't he go to our world for help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who does he talk to? Is it Nova?
Yeah, it's Nova. He comes in and talk, and I thought that was a very cool, unique dynamic because we're used to seeing those two at odds. Like Nova is the one, spoilers, but who kills Annihilus in the Annihilation Wave. So it's cool to see Annihilus coming on his hands and knees and begging Nova for some help. It's odd to see that. So I did like that dynamic. Thought that was cool.
So what's the deal? So JMS Raven talking about is he's a zombie. He was dead. Is it a Cancerverse Sentry?
Sentry came back in that. Well, he came back in the Uncanny Avengers run by Rick Remender. He was one of the 4 Horsemen of Death when Angel had risen to be Apocalypse. Right. And then he was in the Donny Cates Doctor Strange run. Then he had his own run with Jeff Lemire. So as far as we know, he's still out there and they're trying to maintain his sanity. So that's the last I remember him being used.
All right. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to pick it up. I mean, it can't hurt. Immortal Hulk 27. So we're back to like reality with Immortal Hulk here, right? What the hell happened in this book? Let me see. Oh yeah. So you know what? You caught something, Robbie, that I didn't touch on, but I noticed when I was reading it, the way they were paneling this, you had like 3 stories going on the top, middle, and bottom of each page, and that was kind of a cool way to read. At first, I was like, "Damn, am I supposed to read this straight across, or what?" But who the hell would want to work for that guy in the Roxxon Corporation? These guys are shitting their pants during this meeting, right? I'm like, and when they leave, you got one guy's on the table like this. I'm like, man, this big Minotaur guy, he's sipping tea or coffee and is dripping down his face. He's cracking skulls. What else happened in this Hulk? So basically, what else did you say that everyone was scared of Hulk, but now it's really like Banner's kind of like the scary guy.
Yeah, Banner's the creepy one, right? He's trying to fix the world. That was scary when Reed Richards did that in the Hickman run of Fantastic Four. So what's going to happen when Banner, who's being influenced by this like devil Immortal Hulk, is going to try to fix the world. And that Minotaur dude is great. He was in the Jason Aaron Thor run throughout the majority of it. So like this is all still kind of coming out of War of the Realms. And yeah, dude, his board people, like, why would you work for this dude? They probably have no choice.
Like what I was thinking that, like, if you quit, this guy's showing up at your front door.
Yeah, he's like Suge Knight, right?
For real.
You're in for life.
And then I guess, and Devil Hulk, his whole thing is he wants to remake the world, which is basically what, get rid of the humans or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, but then you add in that those ideas by Banner, so this idea that anybody who has the idea of like, I know how to fix the world.
Right.
Well, that's going to lead in some bad places with that much power.
People are going to get hurt with that.
Yes.
And then I guess what happened with a big ending here is that Hulk is able to be a Hulk in the daytime, because this whole thing was on the premise that Hulk can never die, Banner can never die, and Hulk he only comes out at night, and that was his time. But now he's I don't know how, but now he's out in the daytime. He got the Blade vampire thing going on now. Yeah,
he's the Daywalker now, right?
Which original, and I didn't know this until I read the facsimile a few weeks ago. Originally, the Incredible Hulk only turned into the Hulk at nighttime.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
I had no idea until I read the facsimile of #1.
Yeah, because it's very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's talk about 2099, right? So 2099 is a new storyline in the Amazing Spider-Man, which has now a 2099 Alpha #1, and then you have one-shots coming out, and the first one was Fantastic Four 1. I'm a 2099 guy, so I was kind of hyped on this, and I think it's the best Nick Spencer Spider-Man arc so far. I don't know. A lot of people like Hunted, but I wasn't really feeling it. But I love Miguel O'Hara. Maybe it's just because I'm biased to the 2099.
Miguel's great.
So what's going on?
2099.
What's that?
I said I love 2099. I love Miguel O'Hara, man. I think it's great.
For sure, me too, man. So in this one, the Peter Parker's in college, and I forget the guy that's there with him that created this thing that can predict the future, but it's in like this infancy stage where it can only kind of tell you what you're going to eat for dinner kind of thing. But it's kind of leading up that this thing probably messes up the future, the 2099 future, and Miguel's coming back trying to fix things and stop that from happening.
Yeah, when I watched your video, you picked up on that before I did, because I was like, somebody's going to mess up the future. They're going to change it. Obviously, this is an excuse for them to reinterpret 2099 with a more 2019 futuristic vision in there. But you were like, oh, it's going to be Peter's friend or Peter himself that does it. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. Of course it is, right? That's why they're doing it.
And I usually don't pick up on stuff like this, but I thought it was Peter's friend. And then I thought that from the last ASM issue, but then he gave it to Peter, and I'm like, oh, Peter's going to fuck it up for sure. Now
yeah, like he needs more guilt in his life.
That damn Parker luck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yep.
So that's basically what you have here. I love the Miguel stuff. He's kind of like loopy because I guess he's like a Back to the Future vibe. He's probably going to start going invisible, like
be fading out.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He's playing the guitar
in and out and stuff.
But I was digging that issue. Alpha 1, man, I wasn't really digging it. It kind of was like I couldn't even remember what happened except for the Dr. Doom 2099 got how do you say his name? The Watcher, Uatu,
I think.
Uatu. He got Uatu prisoner, feeding him, I don't know, looking out of his eyes. I thought that shit was gangster as hell, man.
Yeah, so I guess he's coming back, right?
Who?
Isn't the Watcher? Isn't he dead right now since Original Sin?
Yeah, since then, right? First of all, JW Statues for the $50 super chat. Appreciate that, brother. Man, we going out tonight.
Very nice.
Appreciate that. So now those things, the super chats last longer the more you pay. So he just made us. But that scene was dope, and I can't really remember what else. Oh, it was super slow because you had that robot cyborg girl, kind of bounty hunter girl.
Oh, Venger, or what's her name?
Yeah, what was she looking for again? She was looking for something. I don't remember. It was kind of super slow, and I hated it. But then
she found Herbie. Like Herbie found her, and it ties right into Fantastic Four 2099.
I remember that. I remember Herbie at the end. I want to find my mother's friends, and Herbie's a FF person, and then you got Fantastic Four 2099 one shot. So Alpha kind of just sets up that the Doom stuff was dope, though, man. I really enjoyed that. The art was crazy. Where that can go with the story, I thought it was going to be cool, and I wonder how that ties into the stuff with Peter and the college guy and the device,
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. The alpha was basically setting up these one shots because you see a little bit of the Punisher stuff, you see the Ghost Rider stuff. Because I like the idea of that road, where as long as you're on it and moving, you can do whatever you want. If you stop moving and then he gets kind of conned out of it, I really like that.
It's like the road you can never get off, but people like live on the road, like on the highway. It's like looking like LA or something like that.
Yeah, there was a Doctor Who episode that was like that. It was really cool.
Okay. I got to break up this 2099 love party that's going on right now.
Well, no, I didn't like it.
Because I've never liked the 2099 books, man. When they came out, I thought they were horrible. Well, and I'm not even going to take the time to get on these ones, just like what they're doing with they're bringing Star Brand from the new universe into Avengers. Yeah. I hated the new universe stuff, man. So they're bringing two things I hate back to the Marvel universe. Give me a break. Hard pass.
You got, first of all, you got Ghost Rider 2099, Venom 2099. I'm definitely excited to read that. Punisher 2099.
Yeah. I like this stuff when I was a kid.
I'm concentrated on 2020, not 2099.
You know what's Go ahead.
But I was going to say, what I do like Alpha may not have been that great, but I read Alpha and then I went right into the Fantastic Four 2099, and like Robbie said, like it's setting up these these one shots or the Fantastic Four, the Ghost Rider 2099, and I think that once you get into those is where it really excels. That's right, because I love Fantastic Four 2099.
So I didn't like this Fantastic Four 2099 until the end.
Yes.
So it had a nice ending.
The whole thing was super slow. Herbie's trying to find like Fantastic Four-ish characters in the future, like a Thing type character, an Invisible Woman type character, a stretchy guy, and you get little glimpses of all them. He puts them all together, and then what happens? They don't vibe with the cosmic rays he's feeding into them, and he kills them all. He murders them all.
And he's like, book for me.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I get it. All these one shots are probably going to be, there's no stakes. It's going to be over, but it's going to be shocking, I think. So imagine what those other one shots are going to be like if that's what they did with this one.
Well, I didn't read the book, but I agree with you guys. I liked it when it was over as well.
My man, you didn't like it, but you didn't give it a chance.
I'll take your word for it. Whatever.
Fantastic Four 2099 was super slow. I hated that bounty hunter chick, like a Western type of bounty hunter. But the ending was like, damn, I didn't see it coming. So it was surprising.
Yeah, that was a nice ending. It took me completely by surprise. I was like, this whole issue is boring. And then I got to the end. I was like, well, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was it. And it kind of made me think like, damn, this 2099 storyline is not going to be what I thought it was going to be, which I think that's always good, you know? All right.
You didn't like the Muck character, how she had like technology like form around her? You guys weren't about that.
I don't really remember it.
I don't really remember it either.
All right. There's my answer.
See, I'm glad. You know, it's funny because Robbie, when I watch your videos, you have very good retention. So when you say you don't remember something, I'm like, all right, it's not just me. All right, you juggle all these things, and if it doesn't like resonate with you, then you're not going to really remember it. You know?
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Captain Marvel. I bought this thinking another whack ass Absolute Carnage tie-in, and I was wrong. This shit was fucking fun, and it looked good. And it was a goofy little thing that didn't matter, like most of the tie-ins, but at least it was different than all the other tie-ins. I think that's what I really liked about it.
I like a good cat comic, and this was a good cat comic.
I couldn't remember the name of the cat or its species. It was a Flecknar or something like that. Flurkin. And it's Chewy, right? It is Chewy, right? Yeah, I think it's Goose in the movie, but it's Chewy in the comic. Okay, so basically, Chewy's got a Carnage symbiote on him. He swallows Captain Marvel. She goes into the pocket dimension. Everything with pocket dimensions, right? Yeah. I just read the Power Rangers Boom Studios books, and they have the pocket dimensions. But the artwork was really good, man. It was really fun. I'm glad it didn't have anything to do with codexes or ripping out spines. I was so sick of that shit. Well, he was after Captain Marvel's codex. He was, but it didn't like revolve around. Yeah. That, it was good. I wish it would have come out like a month ago when we still had a little bit more faith in the tie-ins, and I think more people would have checked it out. Yeah, go ahead. I read it and it was fun. It wasn't necessary. It doesn't tie in. I mean, it does tie into Absolute Carnage, but you don't need to read it to know anything about it type thing. Now, everyone knows I'm a huge cat fan. I mean, I'm a cat dude. I mean, I don't know if you know the name of my cat is Nipples, the cat. And I love cats. Now,
I felt sorry for the cat in here because it got all that crap all over itself and stuff. But you know, it was a fun book. It looked good, but the only thing, you don't need to read it. And I've been collecting all the Absolute Carnage tie-ins.
Me too.
You don't need to read this at all. It doesn't do anything. It pretty much just the Absolute Carnage 5 has her showing up pretty much from what happened here, and she shows up at the end of that book, and that's pretty much it. So
let me tell you my collector's problems with this Absolute Carnage run. So first of all, you have all these books. So you have all these tie-ins. You have the main story. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if anything, you read it and maybe you'll sell the run later or sell the set. So not only do they fuck you with the fact that you have tie-ins in the Amazing Spider-Man and Venom runs, so you can't really sell the set without breaking those runs, but then they announced an omnibus for this. Yeah. So really, you're fucked with the single issues. And it wasn't really, I don't know how most people felt, but it really wasn't a great event.
No, I think the biggest problem with Absolute Carnage was making it an event. If this would have just been in Venom, we would have been like, whoa, or even really great.
Or even in Venom and Spider-Man with the 5 issues of Absolute Carnage without Scream, Lethal Protectors. Even though some of those were good, it was just too much.
Yeah. I agree. Especially after War of the Realms, and then we know we're gearing up to more, and then now we got the 2099 stuff. Now we got Annihilation Scourge, so
which are smaller than Absolute Carnage was.
They are, but like then you got to think, okay, so this is 4 1-shots and 2 specials that are going to be $5 to $6 each, all in 1 to 2 months, and then
you want to start talking dollars, then forget it.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's talk spoilers on Absolute Carnage 5. So it's not really the end. I mean, the Venom book I think is going to end it off, but it's the last issue from Absolute Carnage, and so the big thing was that Dylan has powers.
Yeah,
we knew that. We kind of saw that happening. But we don't really know what kind of powers he has. What did he do? Like some TK telekinesis push or something?
He exploded that guy, man. He just made that boom.
That's what he did. He blew him up, right?
Yeah,
it's some 11 Stranger Things shit, man.
That's exactly what that was.
Yeah. What else? And then I guess at the end he finds out that he's Eddie Brock's son, not his brother.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. I like that.
That was cool. What else happened in the beginning of this? I don't really remember.
Well, I'm trying to remember now.
Kyle, you got your notes over there or what, guy?
Oh, yeah, but I passed on Absolute.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't blame you, man. I'm going to get the omnibus anyway because I do really collect all the omnibus.
I mean, I'd stopped because I had them all, and then, like you said, it was starting to fall off, and I was like, well, I'm not even going to bother. Like, I was just like,
mainly this book was pretty much the consequences of what's going to happen. I mean, they were just kind of going back and forth. If you kill me, this is what happens. If you don't kill me, this is what happens, type thing. And it's pretty much a fight between Carnage and Venom all the way up until the end. And then
so explain that. What was the deal with that? So if he didn't kill Carnage, Noel was coming. But if he killed Carnage, Noel was coming. Like, right? What was the thing with that?
So all the codices like that Carnage was collecting. And then the other ones were collected by that machine that the maker made, right? Mm-hmm. So Venom took in all those codices to like superpower himself up. So you have Super Carnage and Super Venom fighting each other. And if Venom kills Carnage, then he's going to take all of his codices, and that is going to awaken Null.
Right.
If Carnage beats Venom, he's going to take his, and so all the codices are there. So whoever wins, Null, no matter what happens, Null is going to awaken. And that's what I liked about this issue. I liked how it got to this inevitable end. Absolute Carnage is just a stepping stone to what's coming.
So Venom did win. How did he even defeat Carnage? I don't even remember.
He's like stabbed him with that sword, right?
Yeah, sword.
Okay, so now Noel wakes up.
Yeah, and he's free.
Sleepy ass Noel. So he's gonna beeline to Earth now. Like, what's gonna happen when Noel comes? When God comes? Like, what's gonna happen? Right?
The next Marvel event. That's what's gonna happen.
Annihilation Scourge is going to happen.
Yeah, right. But yeah, the big tie-ins, big crossover. It's going to be a big thing. It's going to take over the entire Marvel universe. It's probably going to happen next summer, late summer, something like that.
See, I thought that's what was going to happen with this, but I guess Absolute Carnage was the lead up to that.
Yes, this was just a stepping stone, and I think that's why like making this a big event kind of misled a lot of people, and so they're reading it, they're capturing up they're getting all these tie-ins, and they're like, this stuff doesn't really matter. Now, Absolute Carnage itself, I like. It has great artwork. It was really fun.
Yeah. Stegman killed it.
Yeah, it should have been 4 issues. Initially, it was going to be 4. Then they expanded it out to 5. I think they could have fit it into 4. I think it kind of went just a bit too long, but maybe that was just the tie-ins make me feel that way. But I'm really, really excited to what this is going to lead into.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm definitely going to keep following. So that was the big thing. I guess was that my pick of the week? It was hard for me. I didn't really.
What's your pick of the week?
I didn't have a favorite. I guess I just like this because it answers some kind of questions and kind of went somewhere, unlike most of that story. But yeah, man, it was a slow week for me. Was there any other Marvel books that you guys picked up that came out?
Did anybody read Captain Marvel?
I did not.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It took about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly Thompson is known as a very verbose writer. Look at her Deadpool run, but this was like very different. It was so fast, so quick. Jim, some big stuff happened in this issue. I don't want to really spoil it for you, but
this come on, it's a spoil. I wanted to talk about that.
Talk about it. It's the one Marvel book he read.
No, come on, I read a bunch of them.
Talk about it. Don't let me ruin it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. You want to do it, Robbie?
You go for it, buddy.
Well, I mean, the spoiler was, I mean, Captain Marvel is pretty much a bad guy now, and pretty much she rips the head off of Thor.
What?
And that's just one of the Avengers that she has to go. How many more?
5.
Is it five more Avengers? She has to kill all the Avengers, and the whole book is just a battle, literally crossing the whole world. I mean, they're literally the panels like this is in London, this is in New York, and they're just battling each other all over the world. That's the whole book, and at the very end, she pretty much decapitates Thor, and she gives the head to what's that guy's name? Supreme or
Vox Supreme.
Vox Supreme.
And
he's like, you got 5 more to go. So I mean, it was like I said, it's a quick read, like 3 minutes, but some kind of cool stuff happened in it.
Vox is the dude from Death of the Inhumans. Did you read that one?
Yeah. Yes, I've read parts of it. I didn't fully read it yet because I wanted to go back. But so that's like the Black Bolt, the other Black Bolt guy.
Yeah, but they call him in this. They call him Vox Supreme, and he's got green markings instead of red.
He was red.
Yeah, and so that's a reference to the Intelligence Supreme. So it looks like somehow he's taken over as the leadership of the Kree, and has somehow now just completely taken over Carol, and now she's Dark Captain Marvel, and a lot of people are picking this one up because it's the first appearance of Vox Supreme and Dark Captain Marvel. I think this is another reality that we're seeing.
That's
and
what I think, ask, is this canon?
Yeah, I was going to say that too, because if you rip Thor's head off, we got this new Thor ongoing happening.
Like, right. I mean, obviously, I think that this, when I was reading, I was like, this is another reality. This is an evil Captain Marvel that Kelly is building up. She's going to prove how badass she is. And then she's going to somehow wind up in the 616 and have to take on our Captain Marvel, I guess.
Well, were the previous issues, do you think 616, like, did they branch out at some point? Or do you think her whole run this entire time has been?
I think it starts with this story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, didn't she appear as, like, evil in the end of the last Captain Marvel issue 11?
I don't remember the Dark Captain Marvel showing up, but even if it did, that they're just meanwhile in Earth 793,000 or something, right? So but all this stuff with Star and all that stuff is set in the 616.
Okay.
And this may be some kind of there's some kind of trick involved. I think it's an alternate reality, but it could be something else. But that's what I think.
No, he's dead. It's over.
Yeah, Thor's dead. There's no more Thor comics.
Sorry, Donny Cates. You got to find something else to do.
Yeah, they just killed Thor without spoiling it first. The New York Times,
Right.
All right, cool, man. Yeah, so I didn't pick that one up. That sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, my man DJ Sick Rick did say Venom Island. I know that's supposed to be the next Venom arc, so I don't know if that's going to have anything to do with that that stuff we were talking about with Noel. So I guess that's it for the books, huh?
Well, we had another death of a character in another book, Captain America. I don't know if anyone's reading that. I suppose
I have not been reading that.
Okay, I don't know if I want to spoil it.
Please do.
Yeah.
Kingpin dies in Captain America 16. Yeah, of course it is bullshit. But Kingpin gets blown up in Captain America 16 at the very end, and it shows it comes on the news. Wilson Fisk is dead. Sorry, Jim. I know a lot of people.
Well, hold on. He plays a big role in the Daredevil run. So how's that going to work?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not writing this stuff.
Tell me what happened.
I just saw that he died. I just saw he's literally getting in his car. There's some guy on the roof, and he literally drops a rocket right on his car and blows up. And he's staring right at it. So I mean, there's literally no time for him to get away. Now, is it a setup? It probably is a setup. Obviously he wants it to be that he's dead or whatnot. But
LMD or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you say he dropped a rock on his car and it blew up?
A rocket.
Okay.
Rocket.
That makes more sense.
Sorry. No, it's not Roadrunner stuff.
Yeah,
Give me a break.
Acme.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So, I guess I was trying to ride out my man JW's super chat a little bit. Maybe anyone in the chat want to ask any questions or anything, or
is anybody reading Once and Future?
No.
From Boom Studios. That's a really fun Indiana Jones adventurous type thing. It's really, really fun. Dan Moore on the artwork. It's crisp. It's clean. Basically, the idea of that one is there's this group of people trying to bring back King Arthur, but King Arthur wasn't a good dude. He was kind of like a villain. So it's kind of like, what if King Arthur was a bad dude and they bring him back and he's trying to take over the world? It was really fun. That had a new issue out this week. So Boom's been killing it this year. The year, man. Something is Killing the Children, Once and Future. I'm Loving Strange Skies over East Berlin. Heartbeat came out this week. That was kind of disturbing and interesting. Another great one I read this week was from Images, Ice Cream Man. That's a fantastic book. I love that so much.
I read like the first 3 or 4 issues, and I do love what I've read so far of Ice Cream Man. I do like that. Now, is that like an homage, or is that? I know there's like an old horror movie called Ice Cream Man. Does that have anything to do with that? Do you know?
I don't think so. I don't know the movie you're talking about, but I don't think so. It does revolve around an ice cream man who kind of shows up and gives people some ice cream, and then their life gets completely kind of messed up. It gets surreal. It gets disturbing. Every issue is dark. Every issue is its own story. So you could pick up this new issue and read it, never having read anything else, and just see if you like the feel. But if you like really disturbing, dark stuff, Ice Cream Man is awesome. It's one of my favorite comics.
JW said he's reading Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. Is that a comic? Sounds like a book or something, right?
I thought that was a book, right?
Sounds like kind of a little comic, but do you like the DMZ series? I never read DMZ.
That's a good book. The Brian Wood stuff. That's really good.
The final issue of Punisher Kill Crew came out this week. This is a pretty good book.
Yeah.
Love the pairing of the heroes that are in this book. Awesome.
That was so much fun with Juggernaut and Foggy and Black Knight and Punisher, and that art by Juan Ferreira, I think is his name. That art is so good. He's the artist on the new Spider-Man Noir miniseries starting. So I'm really excited for that.
When does that start?
I think January or February. It's 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, Perry Comics. We did He-Man talk. These guys all hated it. No, they didn't hate it, but
hey, I said I liked it.
That's true.
We convinced Bueller to pick it up.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, I already changed my mind. I ain't gonna do it. Give me a break.
Yeah, these guys read Olympia. They liked it. I didn't pick it up, but I'll probably grab it this week and catch up on it. Chi-Town Bud saying Cole Classic's been good.
Yep.
Who's reading Savage Avengers? I just got the first arc in a trade to try to catch up a little bit.
Farmhand came back this week too. I forgot to pick it up.
Farmhand was amazing.
It was. Is it starting a new story arc?
Yeah, this starts arc 3, and this is the arc where they're answering a lot of questions about what's going on.
Okay.
A lot of family history. It's really good.
Yeah, I got to catch up on that. I hear a lot of good things. 8-Bit Flea get Young Rippa on the show. Yeah, I was watching Young Rippa for a while. He's good big time, man. He's got like 100,000 subs, like a rock star type of guy. I'll hit him up, see if he wants to come through. What else we got here? Patrick Wall, anytime I want to get worked on that MK2, hey, anytime you're ready, holler at me. MK2 is my shit. We random select over here, man.
That's hardcore.
Jim, you hate the MK4, man. You gave me hate towards the MK4, man. That's my favorite, man.
So you must be a little bit younger than me then. You jumped. That's probably you're jumping on point.
Yeah, that's when I jumped on. Yep.
MK4 was disappointing for me, man. It just didn't play like the first 3. I mean, they had a bad run of games from MK3 until Mortal Kombat 9, I would say, is when they got back on track.
You played 11, right? You played that 11?
Yeah, I played 11. See, I when I play on PS4, I always go for the platinum trophies. But once I got the platinum for that game, I kind of lost interest, man.
Yeah, I didn't even finish the story, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I still like the old school ones, man.
Yeah, I agree.
So, N-Man 40, hey, Gem, I know you're mostly into Omnibus as far as Marvel and DC, but do you ever feel like you're missing out without getting trade paperbacks or Marvel Masterworks? So you're back into singles. Yeah, so I liked collecting Omnibus. Obviously, I still do, but I did start to feel like I was behind, and that's why I wanted to get back into singles. I do collect some trades when I feel like, okay, I want to get caught up on something, or it doesn't seem like there's going to be an Omnibus for this. But Marvel Masterworks, I don't really have any want to get into those. I'm not really into that.
They're expensive, man. If you miss out on any of those,
yeah. And like, what's collected in Masterworks that is not in the omnibus that's a must-have?
Yeah, I think that's all covered in omnibuses, right? They did all that old school Stanley, Jack Kirby, Ditko stuff.
I'm trying to find the Defenders run. There's no Defenders omnibus, is there?
No, but there probably will be. But I think there are Masterworks of Defenders. But I'm not really a huge Defenders guy.
Yeah.
What do you guys?
The team dynamic. I think it's different.
Bridge just asking. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Bueller.
What about the New Invaders? Anybody reading that book?
No.
I dropped out of that one.
Okay. I heard that was pretty good.
Bread Juice asking, what about Doomsday Clock? So I think I read the first like 4 issues, and then it was super delayed. I have issues 1 through 11 that I plan on rereading. I should probably do that this weekend before issue 12 comes out.
I'm loving Doomsday Clock. I think it's great.
I just remember the mime guy and girl, and they were like super murderers.
Yeah, the mime and the Mariette, they're super cool. I like the story. It redefines some things as far as the DC universe goes, and really sets up some stuff that, as it will explain why they're doing this 5G timeline type thing. But I just think it's a fun little story. I think it's really cool.
Took 3 years. It takes 3 years to come out. Give me a break. Well, literally, the first one came out in 2017, and the issue 12 won't be out till like 2020.
Hey man, how long did it take Planetary to finish?
We had a lot of people drop it at my comic shop just because of the fact that they couldn't, they were impatient, and it has taken forever.
It has, and at my shop, the sales have remained strong, and I hear a lot of people complaining about the delay. But when it comes out, we all read it, and then we all get together the next week, and we're all like, "That was awesome! That was fantastic!" Each issue is big. Each issue is an event.
Wasn't it?
And I'm loving it.
Canon originally, and then now it's no longer canon.
Oh, it's still canon. It's still canon. Oh yeah.
It is.
Oh yeah. They just can't quite fit. They're gonna have to figure out where it fits in the timeline.
Okay.
Like if you want to, when you deal with continuity, everybody's telling all these different stories, and then they were not anticipating the delays on this one. You know what I'm saying?
It's like Tetris, trying to figure out where it falls in there. Yeah,
like Alfred's in it, but this is supposed to take place at some point in the near future for the DC universe. Of course, we know Alfred's not really dead; he'll come back eventually.
Right.
But so they'll figure out where it fits in continuity, but it is in continuity. It's still the idea.
Okay.
Cool. What are you guys looking forward to next week?
I haven't even looked at the list. What's coming out?
Me neither.
My list is on my phone, and I don't have my phone on me.
Hey, just so you guys know, there's a video that comes out every Wednesday for next week's books. It's on my channel,
right.
Pounds with Bueller. Go check it out. It shows every single book that comes out for Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, you name it. I got it.
Is Marvel Universe coming out?
I don't know.
That just came out, didn't it?
I don't remember putting that on my list. So, yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up. So, Comics with Bueller, so you can find him on his channel. What kind of stuff do you do besides the what's coming out next week stuff?
I do a little bit of actually, we're doing an auction tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, comic book auction. We got a bunch of stuff that we're going to be selling. And we do a ton of stuff. And we actually got an event that we're going to probably be covering here that come December 10th. It's the first ever Image Comics executive signing. And there is literally 6 Image executives that are coming together all at once. It's literally right down the street. I actually just received an email from the promoter as we were on this thing. We have Mark Silvestri, Jim Valentino, Eric Larson, Robert Kirkman, and Todd McFarlane all coming to town. And it looks like we'll be covering that event for them. So I'm looking forward to doing that and talking with those guys and possibly having them on the show. So it should be a lot of fun.
That would be really crazy, cool. Man. Did you guys apply to Image? They were asking for like YouTubers or content creators to hit them up to see if they want to send us books or whatever.
I missed the deadline, man.
It was quick, right?
Yeah, it was. Like a buddy had sent me the link, and then I looked at it, and it was already done. But
so that's what happened with me. Someone tagged me. I applied. But it seemed like they just wanted Instagram numbers. And I was like, yeah, my Instagram numbers are okay, but I'm on YouTube. That's my main thing. And then I started posting everywhere, telling everybody to comment on there to like fuck with Mint Collectibles. And then when I checked back, the comments were disabled. And I guess like the applications were all done.
Image Comics is about 10 miles away from my house. So I'm just going to drive over there and tell them to give me some shit.
Just do that, right?
Yeah.
I have luck with contacting actual creators. And so that's one of the things I'll do on Twitter is I'll like sometimes they'll send out a call. They'll be like, does anybody want to do an advanced review of this? And so I've been able to network a little bit and actually know some of these creators. The reason why I've been able to read the Olympia books, of course, I'm a retailer, but also, Kurt was like, hey, who wants to read this stuff? And I was following his work on his Dark Horse book, Weird. And so he sent us a few issues of Olympia. And that helps us boost up sales and stuff like that. So, and then Vault hooks me up with a lot of advanced looks.
You got to network, man. You got to reach out to them, and it's not so simple. Sometimes you got to snoop around the internet to figure out an email address. Right. Name. Once you find a name, like I got in good because I found an email address, and the way that it was structured, I knew the other guy's name, so I tried the same, structure of email, like first initial, last name, whatever. And I got him, and I was like, "Oh shit, you didn't even ask. I found the email."
Well, you literally dropped the name when you were doing your unboxing video, and I wrote it down. I'm like, okay, I gotta find this guy.
See, that's how I found him, because another YouTuber near mint condition drops his name, so I was like, I knew his name already. And then Comic Tom knew him. Probably told you he met him in New York. Yeah. And I was like, I got to get a hold of this guy, David Gabriel, man. Yep. So he's mad cool, man, for real.
Yeah, he's very cool.
Kyle, what comic shop do you work at, bro?
I work at Comics Connection in York. It's in Pennsylvania, so I'm up northeast. But yeah, like I said, I worked there all throughout college.
6 years, right? You said.
Yeah, I've been working there for 6 years now. I worked there during college years. Great part-time job now that I have, and I love it. Like I have my career job, and then dealing with all the stress from that. Going to that job, the part-time job at the comic book store is like not even a job, man. I love it.
That's awesome. So I always wanted to work at a comic shop. I wanted to open my own comic shop, but the closer I got to doing it, the more scared I got. And I was like, I don't want that stress, man.
It's a headache, man.
Yeah,
it can be. It definitely can be. But I mean, going in there and dealing with the customers, and they just come in. You guys watch Comic Palace, right? I mean,
yeah.
That's why I love watching that, because it's just like work. And why would you want to watch something that reminds you of work? Well, if you love work, I mean, that's really, you have conversations about any and everything, every comic character you can think of. It's a good time.
Cool, man. Robbie, where do you work? What's your shop?
At the blah blah blah. It's called the Deep Comics and Collectibles in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
And I'm the store manager there. I've been back there 10 years from now, but I've been working in the retail industry since 2000.
Tell them about your channel.
Pop Culture Philosophers. On late Tuesday nights, we do the weekly comic book review. I cover anywhere between 30 to 40 comics, sometimes over 40 comics.
Yeah.
Like I did this last week. We also do movie reviews, pop culture wrap-ups, fun stuff. So join us.
All right. And if you guys are new to the channel, I'm Gem Mint. We do a lot of collectibles, reviews and unboxings, big on the omnibus stuff, the statue stuff, weekly issues. I do a new comic book day review as well. I drop mine Wednesday mornings, which are supposed to be non-spoilers. Most of the time they are. And then we do this live show because I figured, man, people like me and Robbie drop these kind of non-spoiler reviews, but let's talk about the spoilers sometimes. Yeah. So that's kind of why this came together. And I like, people kind of got it in the chat. They're like, oh man, I watch all you guys separately. It's cool to see you together. And that was kind of the whole point, to try to we all do the same kind of thing. So let's bring it together. And, anytime, if you guys want to do this on your channel, I'd be happy to hop over there or whatever. And we could do the same thing.
When I get a channel.
What's that? Oh yeah.
I said when I get a channel.
Kyle got to get set up, man. Definitely. I think, you mentioned it before we went live that you were kind of thinking about doing it. I think you just got to do it. You take inspiration from people you watch, but you put your own twist to it and just do it, man.
Yeah, Kyle, now's a great time to do a channel on YouTube. There's nothing going on there. Nothing to worry about, buddy. Nothing to worry about.
Not for kids.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we probably should have that copper talk one day, maybe for next time. But we're going to wrap it up. It's dinner time for your boy. Thank you guys for coming on, as always, and talking comics, and everybody watching in the chat. You guys stay minty fresh. Peace.
Adios.